In this video, we're going to walk through the exact structure and playbook we use for Black Friday, Cyber Monday for all of our clients at Reach. Now, it's a three-part structure. So how it's going to work in the first part of the video is I'm going to walk through offers. Um, Now, this will be a relatively quick video, but I want to make it as valuable as possible here. So offers, second part will be creatives, and the last part will be your landing page and attribution window. So let's get straight into it. So the offers is the first part and the most important part of your Black Friday, Cyber Monday strategy. So the first thing you want to do is break down your offers into multiple different types of options you have available. So a lot of these options are going to come through a couple of things. The first one is, what did you guys run last year? Was there an offer you guys ran last year? Was it a percentage off? Was it discount off? And what did the numbers look like in terms of ad spend and in terms of revenue generated, and also your new customer revenue generated? So you want to break that down into a couple of different metrics and figure out how valuable that offer was. Then what I would do is I would take that, and then also on the right hand side, I would build out a separate template where I look at all the offers I've run over the last 12 months. Now, this can be Father's Day, Mother's Day, Labor Weekend, whatever it is. Write down all those offers you ran, because chances are they might have been slightly different and you weren't always doing like a site wide. Maybe you tried out like a free gift. Maybe you tried like a bundle. Write all those down and figure out what your revenue position was for those offers. What was your margin and how much, and what was your new customer return on ad spend during those times? And then from there, we can kind of break down and see, okay, maybe site wide was the most simplest offer and also generated the highest amount of revenue position. And that's the offer that we should go ahead with. But until you've got the data in front of you, it's hard to kind of make those sorts of decisions. So the first thing I would do is go ahead and make those templates and make sure you've got it all available in front of yourself. And that way you can come to a clear conclusion on what type of offer you want to go ahead with. So for majority of our clients, the simple way is just deciding between two things. And the first one is, what was the site-wide offer we ran last year? Because that's been the one that's worked the best for all of our clients. And it's honestly the most simple to run for a lot of D2C brands where nothing's too complex. And then the second one is, for examples with brands with high SKU counts, so like jewelry, clothing, what we see work really well is almost like a stacked offer, so like a tiered offer. So this last one here, so it's like buy more, save more. So in the scenario for men, let's say men who shop for apparel, we like to buy a lot of clothing all at once. So offers like buy more, save more work really, really well. So how we're actually structuring it for one client is the first week of November, we'll do a stacked offer. So very different. We'll do essentially what it would be is buy more, save more for the first week of November, and we'll rotate collections in that week to make sure it's kind of almost exclusive, but also provides a lot of value, and see if we can increase average order value and also revenue per session during those times. And then as we progress towards the week and get closer towards Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we'll navigate the offer from stacked offer towards a percentage off or a discount off. Most likely it's going to be a percentage off, so it'll be like the 20% off, and then followed by that, maybe on the Cyber Monday, we'll do a little bit more aggressive and go 25 or 30% off. So those are the kind of structures that I would recommend, or at least look to test out if I was a new brand having my first Black Friday for the year. Now, again, if you're a new brand and this is your first Black Friday, essentially you just started the brand, let's say, and if it's your first Black Friday, I would make sure you're constantly ready to rotate offers. One thing that worked really well for us last year is we tested an offer, and in the first 24, not 24 hours, first 10 hours, it just didn't work at all. And we had to adapt really quickly and change the offer after the 8 to 10 hour mark, because we weren't seeing the revenue we wanted to hit. We weren't seeing the return on ad spend goals. We weren't seeing the contribution dollars being generated. So we essentially rotated the offer and made sure we had a plan B for the offer. And immediately we started to see a much higher conversion rate on site and a much higher revenue position for this particular offer. So make sure if you're a new brand, you've got a couple of offers on your back pocket that you can essentially rotate through. And if things aren't looking really great, straight out the gate, 6 hours in, look at maybe rotating that offer and bringing something in that you can essentially use as your backup. So the second part of this offer is now understanding your margins. So you've got your offer all ready to go, but now it's like, what does that offer even look like in terms of dollars that are going to go into my pocket? So these are kind of a template of the implications of your promo strategy on your contribution margin. So you've got no promo, which is your baseline. So what it's going to look like if there are no sales at all. Then you've got essentially $50 off, $100 off, $150. So this is just an example, but this is what it would look like. And what you want to do is you want to have your average order value. Again, I'll link this template below. Your average order value, your COGS, and then your costs of delivery. And then you want to figure out what your gross margin is per offer. So the first one is finding your gross margin per offer. And then the second one is finding what are the amount of orders I need to break even if everything else stays consistent. So if it's $50 off and our baseline is $100, I need to do $120 orders in order to break even. So that's kind of the incremental $20 I'll have to do on essentially the same ad spend if I'm running this offer. And that principle applies towards the $100 off and also the $150 off here. So if I was in your place, I would map out firstly all of the offers that we had discussed here, make your top two, so your core one and then a backup one. And then in the part two of the offer here, I would list out those offers in templates like this and figure out what your baseline looks like, what your break even looks like, and what would happen if you had to get a little bit more aggressive. Like let's say we were just doing 15% off. What would happen if we went 20 to 25%? How many more incremental orders would we have to make up in order to break even and then make profit on? So it's a good exercise to do, good exercise to understand your numbers, because that way you can start monitoring your pacing when you're actually live on the day. You can understand how many more orders I need to do. Do I need to send more emails in order to generate more revenue here? Or do I need to bump ads? Like, what does it look like? And that way you can kind of make decisions almost intraday off the sale. So now the part three here is creatives. So creatives is going to be a big one. It's going to play hand in hand with offers. And it's something that can be quite hit or miss per year. A lot of what we see work really, really well for creators in Black Friday, Cyber Monday is your evergreen. So what I mean by that is your evergreen creatives that have been running either all year long or they've been running for the last couple of months. Those creatives have already got a lot of learnings on them. They've already got a lot of spend on them, engagement on them, and chances are they're already performing really, really well. So when it comes to this seasonal moment, chances are it's going to have even better performance because it's got all these learnings. It's going to have a much better conversion rate on site. So your job becomes essentially just changing the post-click destination. Now, let's say your post-click destination is a homepage or product page. Make adjustments on the product page or homepage, or even let's say landing page, to make sure your sale or your offer is very clear on that page. Now, if you go ahead and just change your homepage banner and you don't change the product page or you don't change the landing page, chances are your conversion rate is going to stay relatively stable. You're not going to see much difference, and people aren't going to know that you're running like a sale during Black Friday, even though customer sentiment's much higher during these days. Chances are people aren't just going to convert that much better. So make sure if you're running evergreen and it's going towards these, standard destinations like homepage and product page, make sure they're updated with your offer and the sale moment and how long your sale is live for. You've gone ahead and done those. Your core job now from the months of October to, maybe start of November or just before that is to build out really strong evergreen creatives. Now, what I mean by that is you want to get more bigger concepts through the doors. You don't want to do your typical before and after photos. You don't want to do your statics with the headline test. You want to go for really, really bigger swings. You want to do bigger call outs in your concepts. You want to test more, video content, try different style hooks, throw something across the room as you really bring out bigger concepts that can help you outshine your current creatives, so that when it comes to the sale moment, you're just, essentially prepared for success. So I would start even seeding out a lot of content, getting different types of media mixes into your current ad account. If your ad account is very image dominated, try bring videos into it, and try bring, GIFs into it. try different types of media mixes. You essentially don't want to look like this screenshot here, where everything almost looks like the same thing. You want to make sure Meta is able to differentiate between these creatives and understand that, hey, these are actually going towards different audiences and also different emotional appeals for these audiences. The different emotional appeals will come through a lot of these different types of concept testing that you're going to have to do. So focus on bigger concepts and swings and less iterations on your concept testing. So how I would view it is, let's say we've got a creative where the headline is stop having coffee in order to get, less jitters, let's just say. Now, if that's a winning concept or a winning messaging, a lot of people will go ahead and iterate on that. That's fine. I would spend maybe 10 to 15% of your time iterating on that winning concept, because chances are you might be able to increase the shelf life of that particular message. Now, what you want to do instead, though, is take the concept of jitters. Chances are your design is not really the one that's winning, it's the messaging that's winning. And you want to do messaging iteration rather than creative iteration. So what messaging iteration would be is, I will take the concept of jitters because maybe it associates with, it could be sadness, it could be joy, or it could be, any one of these emotions that jitters could trigger. And I would do a concept iteration on the word jitter, and also one of the emotions that it brings out, essentially. So that itself can help come up with lots of different other messaging and different headlines that you can test out now, because it's a much broader concept rather than just focusing on the design iteration and the slight headline iteration. I can now focus on the emotional aspect of the creative that targeted a specific audience. And now I can do that concept iteration and get much bigger swings into the ad account. So the last part here, we'll stick into the last part here, is your landing page. Now, the landing page is another crucial part that's important as part of your full funnel strategy here. You've got your offer, you've got your creative, and now it's where are you sending a lot of the people. For moments like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it's fine to send them to your homepage. A lot of the times for high performing brands, homepage is actually the top performing landing page that they've tested out. Or the chances are that they've taken a top performing landing page and recreated it to be their homepage. So there are situations where both are actually true. But for me, what we like to do for a lot of our clients is we like to do a lot of our landing page testing in the month of October. So you want to make sure you're able to drive a significant amount of volume towards this test in order to validate it as soon as you possibly can. Because chances are it's not going to work on the first time. If I went ahead and created this landing page, it could work, it could not work. We don't know the result. But what we'll understand is if we launch 3 to 4 variations of this, could be headline tests, we could split test reviews, we could split test the main image. That way, we'll be able to understand, what works really well on that landing page, and we'll be able to understand the revenue position this landing page is generating in comparison to a home page or a product page. So your evergreen destination will always outperform your landing page destination to start with. And what you want to do is make sure you're able to create a couple of different destinations and talk tracks for your brand so that people are able to understand the full journey. So not everyone goes to the homepage, but I would try to send at least 30-40% towards a landing page that can convert quite highly. Now, the good thing about a landing page is you can also showcase your offer that works really well in your landing page. So if you look at a lot of these examples, a lot of them have a really strong offer, get 50% off. A lot of them will have a gift with purchase, or they'll be able to get some type of bundle that you get just by going to this landing page. So I would make sure you look at a couple of examples, figure out what the way is in terms of structuring a landing page, and then also look at the most important part of a landing page, which is your ad copy. Your copy on your landing page is essentially going to be the one that drives the highest conversion rate for you versus just the design itself. If you have, a very simple design process, if you have a really simple design process along with very simple copy, your page is not going to convert. If you have a simple landing page design with strong copy, it will still work because your copy is essentially what's persuading the customer in order to purchase your product, and then your offer sells them and gets them to immediately buy. So All three parts are going to play a crucial part of your strategy. And I would look at a bunch of different examples and figure out how to structure a lot of your pages and your copy. If I was you, I would take inspiration clearly from the creators that are working. Take inspiration of a lot of the emotions that are working in terms of your ad concepts, and bring those to life onto your landing page. If less coffee and less jitters works really well, write a copy and a landing page solely about that, and figure out how you can convert and drive all your ads towards that landing page. And chances are you'll see a much higher conversion rate because your post-click experience matches what you're seeing on the ad level. So that way the customer gets a full journey and full understanding of what your brand does and how it helps them with their lives. And now the last part of it all is your attribution. So attribution is super important and a very underrated part of media buying. So you have two parts to it, and sometimes you'll have one-day click in this as well. So the first part is looking at your 7-day click and one-day view, or your 7-day click. So a lot of brands I've audited recently have 7-day click, 1-day view as their main attribution. Now, what this essentially means is once I click an ad over a 7-day window, I purchase over that 7-day window, I will get attributed as a 7-day click purchase. But if I scroll past your ad on Meta and I just scroll past it, and within that day of viewing that ad, technically, even if you just scroll past it, it counts as a view, and I purchase, Meta will still attribute that purchase towards that creative or ad set or ad, whatever it may be. Whereas if it's just 7-day click only, it is essentially if I click the ad and over the 7-day window I purchase, it will get attributed to that. So it's essentially only click-through metrics. So where these two are beneficial are at 2 points of a brand's journey. This part, 7-day click, 1-day view, is very beneficial when you're just starting the brand or you've got one marketing channel only. And by marketing channel, I mean you do not have email. Maybe you have email, but you've only got Facebook and Instagram, and you don't have Google spend. You don't have, organic. You don't have direct traffic. You don't have influencer. You've only got that one marketing channel. That's where 7-day click, 1-day view is really beneficial, is when you've got one marketing channel or you're a really small brand and you just need more volume of data points to feed your campaigns. So once you've got a lot of data points, I would recommend switching over to 7-day click. Brand that is slightly bigger and you've got multiple marketing channels, 7-day click is super important to you. So I would honestly recommend, if you are on this and you have those marketing channels or multiple marketing channels, I would recommend doing a split. So you can do a compare attribution setting and you can view, if you tick 7-day click, you can view the discrepancy between 7-day click, 1-day view and also 7-day click. And that way you'll get an understanding of how much incremental purchases am I missing out on. If it's a lot, if it's more than 10%, I would recommend making the change. If you aren't seeing much of a discrepancy, I would continue to leave it on here. But slowly think about, as you grow, this is going to be a problem to navigate all your campaigns from 7-day click, 1-day view to 7-day click. So I would still try and make a small transition, whether it's launching new creative testing campaigns or launching a new campaign based on a product launch as a 7-day click window versus 7-day click, 1-day view. What you can look at doing is, if you don't want to do the comparison, I would split out the revenue generated from 7-day click, 1-day view and then 7-day click, and see which one correlates the closest to your new customer revenue. And that's going to let you figure out which one is most valuable when you look at in-platform versus your new customer revenue that you see on the back end. Now, sometimes Meta can over-attribute based on other marketing channels that are in play, or it can under-attribute. And it's your job to compare that to new customer revenue, since that's your sole focus with Meta being an acquisition channel. And you want to figure out what attribution window correlates the closest to that new customer revenue. So why this attribution discussion is so important is because when it comes to seasonal moments, and you've got email revenue, you've got Google, you've got direct traffic, Meta's attribution is going to overcompensate for view-through metrics. And that's going to make your media buying and your decision-making that much more difficult, because you're going to be optimizing on view through metrics, which are happening on other platforms, versus what's actually happening on your platform, Meta, and that means your decisions are going to be solely based on view through and not click through. So my recommendation is on sale days, on seasonal moments like this, switch to 7-day click or switch to 1-day click, so you're able to make more smarter decisions inside of the ad account that can actually benefit your brand on the back end, and it relates closest to your new customer revenue. Again, if this video was super helpful, feel free to comment any questions below. I'm a little bit sick, so apologies on my croaky voice. But if there are any other videos you'd like to see as we approach Black Friday, Cyber Monday, please feel free to comment below, and I'll make sure to get that added into my backlog. Cheers.